Kings Island is one of the greatest amusement parks on the planet. Opening in 1972 and having one of the greatest and most diverse collections of roller coasters out there, it's obvious why so many people love this park. Over the park's history, they have had some of the most innovative roller coasters ever created, like the original Bat, Scooby's Ghoster Coaster, and of course, the Beast and his son. After being bought by Cedar Fair in 2006, the park has been growing and growing until today and their 13 roller coasters, soon to be 14 with Orion opening April 11th, or April 10th for me. I have ridden all of their roller coasters except for the two kiddie coasters, Woodstock Express and the Great Pumpkin Coaster, although I know the ride experience on both of these since I've ridden clones of them elsewhere. So far, I've been to Kings Island 6 times now. Once in 2016, once in 2017, twice in 2019, and twice for Winterfest. My opinions will probably be different than yours and probably controversial, but I'm no stranger to unpopular opinions. And so, I bring you my ranking of all of Kings Island's coasters. Number 13, the Great Pumpkin Coaster. Not much to say here, haven't ridden it, but it's a standard kiddie coaster. Number 12, Woodstock Express. Same case as Great Pumpkin. Haven't ridden, but the same as Ghoster Coaster at Canada's Wonderland and Woodstock Express at Carowinds. Basic PTC kiddie coaster with one somewhat surprising moment of airtime. Number 11, Flying Ace Aerial Chase. Not as boring as the other two kiddie coasters, Flying Ace is another classic Vekoma suspended family coaster, same as Kitty Hawk at Carowinds and Silver Streak at Canada's Wonderland. These are fun rides that aren't too forceful, but they have a fun layout. Number 10 is Racer. This classic PTC Woody opened in 1972, and it's fairly enjoyable. I first rode it in 2016, but rode it again in 2019. Both times I didn't get the fun dueling element, but I remember having a pretty good time. The ride itself I remember being fairly rough in the back row, and it has a very basic layout and doesn't have much going for it, but it's still an original at the park. Number 9 is Adventure Express. This is my favorite Aero Mine Train, but it's still an Aero Mine Train. Debuting in 1991, this ride is one of the best themed coasters in the Cedar Fair chain. It has a nice setting and uses the terrain very well. It was fairly smooth in the front and has some fun moments. The final lift hill in the tunnel is also pretty cool with all of the animatronics. It's just a shame that leads into the brake run and not a secret drop or something like that. Number 8 is Backlot Stunt Coaster. One of 3 of these clones. The Backlot coasters provide some fun experiences. For some reason, I've noticed this one has a lot more downtime than the ones at Canada's Wonderland and King's Dominion, as it was closed in both my 2016 and 2019 visits. These are fun clones. They have surprisingly forceful and enjoyable launch. You then go up a nice tight helix before winding through the rest of the layout. Unlike Canada's Wonderland, the fire effect actually works on this one, and the ride has a nice indoor section. Overall, a very fun clone and better than the one at Canada's Wonderland. Number 7 is Flight of Fear. Ironically enough, Kings Island not only has one premier launched clone, but 2 premier launched clones. This ride is the same as the one at King's Dominion, as well as a few other Six Flags parks. Flight of Fear starts with a nice forceful launch right into the first inversion. This ride rhymes all around the layout with some of the best head choppers I've ever experienced, especially since you fly through them with a lot of speed. It's the only ride I've ever actually ducked on, as my instincts told me that I was going to hit that support beam. The last little finale also has a nice airtime moment. This is a pretty fun ride, but I've noticed the line gets fairly long for it, especially compared to other rides at Kings Island. Number 6 is Invertigo. This is one of only 3 Invertigos left, and it's a really fun ride. This Vekoma inverted boomerang is a fun and unique experience. The face-off seats are really cool, and the ride has 2 fun drops. The ride pulls some surprisingly high Gs throughout the layout, and this one has some nice video spots. I rode this boomerang before I had actually ridden any original boomerangs, and this model is way better than the standard ones. Now with Dorney Park's Stinger gone, there should be enough spare parts to keep this coaster running for a fairly long time. Invertigo is an intense and fun ride that unfortunately gets a queue that's too long to be worth it. Number 5 is the Bat. This is a clone of Vortex at Canada's Wonderland, and in my opinion it isn't as good as that, but man is this ride sweet. It has an insanely awesome location in the front of the park right next to Great Wolf Lodge. The queue for this thing is way too long, but it's a really fun ride. I remember this ride being not as intense as Vortex, but that might have been because I got a really early ride on it right in the morning. The Bat is a really cool coaster and my 5th favorite at Kings Island. Number 4 is Banshee. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't like this ride as much as the Beast. This ride is amazing, however. Banshee is a very tall, long, and fast coaster with some great moments of positive G's. The beginning of this ride is cool, right next to the queue and having that iconic vertical loop right through the lift hill. The rest of the ride has some really nice elements, my favorite being the awesome pretzel loop. One of the best elements is the slow roll right before the brake run. This roll gives some of the best hang time out there. Banshee is a really good coaster, but I'm not a huge invert fan personally. Number 3 is the Beast. This is one of the most famous roller coasters ever made. Opening in 1979, the Beast was hailed as
the biggest, baddest, longest, fastest coaster in the world.
Although tallest and fastest have been taken, the Beast still holds the record for the longest wooden coaster on the planet. Coming in at an insane 7,359 feet long, the Beast is one of the grandest roller coasters out there. It has a really good first drop into a nice short tunnel. After that comes some cool winding moments that really use the wooded terrain well. I remember actually seeing a deer right next to the track once. The ride then goes into the worst part, that really long and now unnecessary brake run. I'll probably go into more detail in a future video, but this is the worst part of the ride for me. The next part is really cool though. It winds all around the back of the park and through some nice tunnels. After the second lift hill, the ride goes into its insane finale, the double tunnel helix. This is easily my favorite part of the ride and is one of the best moments I've ever experienced. This thing is insanely huge. The Beast is a coaster that should be near the top of every enthusiast's bucket list. Number 2 is Diamondback. This is the second best B&M Hyper I've ridden, and it's awesome. Diamondback was part of the great boom that happened in the ex-Paramount parks right after being acquired by Cedar Fair. Well, most of them at least. Diamondback stands right in the middle of Rivertown with a nice 215-foot tall drop right over the path, providing some nice views. This coaster has some amazing airtime in it, including the awesome 5-second airtime hill. Diamondback is filled with really great moments of airtime in almost every bit of this coaster. The finale is really good, with a nice helix before diving into the famous splashdown. Diamondback is one of the best coasters I've ridden, and it's a must-go for every trip to Kings Island. Number 1 is Mystic Timbers. This ride is insane. Mystic Timbers was the US's star attraction opening in 2017. Standing 109 feet tall, this ride has some of the best airtime out there. After the sweet curved drop, you go into a nice double airtime moment after flying over the lift. The rest of the ride is a nice long airtime fiasco. This ride has some insane airtime and crossovers. The finale of this ride right over a little pond into the brake run is really fun. The shed was kind of underwhelming, but it's still a right direction into Cedar Fair theming. Mystic Timbers is a perfect example of what makes Kings Island's coasters so special. Long, wooded terrain and with amazing elements. So that's my ranking of the coasters of Kings Island. If you disagree, I would love to hear your opinions and how you rank them in the comments down below. Before this video ends, I just wanted to say how insanely grateful I am for all of the support these past couple of weeks. My channel's grown more in the last week than the past 2.5 years combined. I really do enjoy the support. It's absolutely insane. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you gave a like and subscribed, as it helps spread my channel to more people's recommendation pages. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Atomic Coasters, and I hope to see you all in the next video.